When we think about the concept of a chosen one, countless stories and legends spring to mind, from ancient myths that depict heroic figures destined to save kingdoms, to modern pop culture narratives where unsuspecting characters discover they hold crucial powers. This timeless fascination spans cultures across the globe, stirring desire to believe in something more. In ancient Greece, for instance, oracles prophesied the coming of individuals who would shift the course of empires, and similar beliefs can be found among Norse sagas, Mayan prophecies, and Celtic lore. We see these themes repeated in religious texts as well, where prophets and saints are chosen by divine will to lead, guide, or protect. These references, whether shrouded in metaphor or displayed through grandiose tales, point to a profound cultural intrigue, the notion that within the tapestry of ordinary life, certain individuals are marked by destiny to rise above the rest. But what does it really mean to be a chosen one? Is it about being endowed with special gifts, or does it relate to an inner calling that compels a person to step up onto a path of self-discovery and service? Often, these stories highlight moral and spiritual qualities, courage, compassion, integrity, that go hand in hand with perceived special abilities or foretelling. The chosen one figure is a focal point for hope, a beacon that promises the restoration of balance or the saving of a dire situation. Yet not all such individuals are recognized in their time, and many are misunderstood, even persecuted for their differences. This dynamic can be seen in the stories of Joan of Arc, who claimed divine guidance and rose to lead the French to important victories, only to be ultimately condemned for her beliefs. History is packed with examples of individuals who felt a pull towards something greater, who acted upon an unshakable certainty that they were meant to do something extraordinary, regardless of how others perceived them. Whether we label them prophets, leaders, or visionaries, the concept remains the same in every era. There are those who feel that undeniable tug in their hearts, a sense of purpose that, despite challenges or doubts, propels them forward. It's this sense of purpose that defines a chosen one at the core, not necessarily the spectre of having magical powers, but the unwavering drive to fulfill a role that, in some inexplicable way, feels predestined. Even in our modern world, the chosen one archetype persists, woven into best-selling novels and blockbuster films, reminding us that the idea of hidden destinies still resonates as strongly as it ever has. The spark of potential, waiting to be unleashed, speaks to a deep human yearning for meaning and suggests that perhaps anyone could be that shining figure in their own story if only they recognize and embrace the call. Such figures remind us that within ordinary life contains a potential ready to be revealed, highlighting our true capacity for greatness through unexpected journeys. Its allure endures, guiding hearts toward unexplored territories of possibility, wonder. The mystique surrounding those deemed to be chosen ones often stems from the captivating tension between ordinary existence and extraordinary potential. Humanity is inherently drawn to stories that defy the mundane, offering glimpses of courage, sacrifice, and supernatural intervention. These narratives act like magnets for our collective imagination, nourishing a hidden hope that there might be more to life than what meets the eye. Part of the fascination lies in the riddle, like nature of these individuals. How do they come to bear such remarkable destinies? Are they born under auspicious signs, blessed by celestial forces, or do they simply stumble into life-changing circumstances? This uncertainty enhances the aura of mystery, suggesting that fate, chance, and personals might all play a role in shaping a chosen one's journey. Moreover, the extraordinary qualities attributed to them, heightened intuition, uncanny luck, or the ability to influence events, reflect the deepest yearnings of human hearts for meaning, relevance, and connection to something bigger. In ancient civilizations, oracles and wise men attributed strange happenings to the interference of gods or spirits who singled out specific mortals for higher tasks. Such stories served as moral compasses, teaching communities that certain virtues and convictions could unlock hidden blessings. In modern times, this fascination persists but often takes on new forms, such as the superhero phenomenon that captivates film audiences worldwide, or the spiritual gurus who appear to possess unique insight into life's complexities. Regardless of the format, the narrative remains consistent. A seemingly ordinary person is called to do extraordinary deeds, often wrestling with self-doubt and external obstacles. Overcoming these hurdles becomes both the climax and heart of the tale, underscoring themes of growth, redemption, and the transformative power of faith in oneself. The mystique also lies in how these individuals navigate a precarious balance between two worlds, the familiar they were raised in and the realm of higher purpose that beckons them. This tension resonates deeply because it mirrors our own internal struggles when faced with major life changes or moments of truth. We recognize that stepping into new territory often requires leaving behind comfort and familiarity, which can be both thrilling and terrifying. The Chosen One archetype distills this universal experience into a tangible or inspiring story we can latch onto. It reassures us that the leap of faith might be worth the price, that within our challenges lie the seeds of transformation. Often, tales of chosen ones challenge us to reevaluate our own lives. They ask us to consider whether we too carry sparks of hidden greatness. This contemplation can serve as a catalyst for personal growth, prompting us to heed subtle nudges and cultivate our potential. Thus, the mystique does more than entertain. It stirs a profound collective curiosity about destiny, purpose, and the hidden currents that shape our paths. We find ourselves wondering if, beneath the surface of daily routine, we possess an unrecognized capacity to change the world, or at least our corner of it, once we listen to the inner call and purpose. Despite these grand narratives and mythic elements, the truth about chosen ones is often more nuanced than tales of thunderous prophecies and dazzling powers suggest. We are conditioned to believe a chosen one must stand out in obvious ways, as though a celestial spotlight shines upon them from birth. Yet in reality, those who feel a distinct pull toward a calling can be remarkably unassuming. They might occupy quiet corners of life, working diligently in professions that seldom attract fame or attention, while privately wrestling with a persistent sense that they are meant for something else. Sometimes this sense arrives not as a dramatic revelation, but as a slow, growing awareness that refuses to be ignored. It can be something as subtle as an inability to shrug off a recurring dream, a recurring thought, or a series of inexplicable coincidences that prompt someone to question their path. Paradoxically, chosen ones might not even believe they are special at all. They could grapple with self-esteem issues, mental health struggles, or challenging circumstances that mask their deeper purpose. They may dismiss the idea that their life holds extraordinary significance, viewing themselves as ordinary people just trying to navigate daily life. Yet, beneath these appearances, a quiet yet insistent voyages them to look deeper. This invisible current can manifest as powerful intuition or an uncanny knack for being in the right place at the right time. In some cases, it materializes a profound empathy, an innate ability to sense the struggles of others or the undercurrents of a room. Rather than boasting epic magical feats, these individuals might touch hearts through their capacity for compassion, healing, or leadership, bringing transformative change in small but meaningful ways. This dichotomy between external ordinariness and internal calling underlines how being chosen is not always accompanied by fanfare or recognition. In fact, many so-called chosen ones live under the radar until a pivotal moment or crisis calls them to act. Think of those who quietly dedicate themselves to causes that defy the odds, activists tirelessly working behind the scenes, scientists or innovators who persevere despite ridicule, or spiritual leaders who prefer solitude over limelight. Their journeys rarely mirror the flashiness of cinematic heroes, yet the impact they have on the world is unmistakable, rippling outward in ways that might only become clear in hindsight. The crux of it all lies in the notion that a genuine calling transcends external trappings. It resides in the core of who a person is, urging them to align their life with a deeper sense of purpose. While the outside world might see them as ordinary, within their soul there thrives a profound spark that refuses to be extinguished by doubt or adversity. This realization can be both liberating and daunting, woven into the most unremarkable days. The question then becomes whether one chooses to heed the subtle signs nudging them along, or whether they dismiss that small voice, never fully realizing the extraordinary story they were destined to inhabit. Many individuals who reflect on their lives can pinpoint seemingly random moments or coincidences that felt oddly significant, as though they were guiding lights meant to direct them toward a greater path. These aha moments rarely arrive with thunderclaps or neon signs. Instead, they can unfold in the quiets of a conversation that resonates deeply, or in the silent pause after experiencing something uncanny. Often, these moments catch us off guard. Maybe it's an unexpected encounter with someone who says precisely what we needed to hear, or an instantaneous realization that our current trajectory no longer serves us. In that sudden clarity, we sense a larger hand at work, nudging us along. These incidents might be as simple as stumbling upon a book that directly addresses questions we've secretly been wrestling with, or receiving a job offer that feels timed too perfectly to be coincidence. In retrospect, these occurrences can take on an almost fated quality, inspiring us to question whether there is an unseen pattern in our lives. Sometimes, these revelations arrive at our lowest points, when everything seems to be going wrong. We experience what feels like a final straw that snaps us out of denial or despair, compelling us to see that our life direction must change. In that painful moment, a light switches on. The ha itself might feel small, but it often plants the seed of a profound shift in how we perceive our place in the world. We might start noticing more synchronicities or coincidences, as though life is conspiring to remind us of a path not yet taken. These magical breakthroughs don't necessarily guarantee an easy journey. In fact, they can raise more questions than answers. We may doubt ourselves. Was that really a sign or just wishful thinking? Should we uproot our entire life based on an inner nudge? Yet these intervals of unexpected insight often become turning points that set us on a renewed course. The truth is that these pivotal moments are deeply personal. One person might interpret a chance meeting as divinely orchestrated, while another might see it as pure luck. The power of these aha experiences lies not so much in proving a cosmic design as in how they transform our understanding of ourselves and our possibilities. If we pay attention, we begin to sense a tapestry of meaning emerging around us, weaving discrete events into a story of becoming. This sense of a larger narrative can embolden us to pursue what once felt far-fetched. Though we might have initially overlooked these moments as coincidences, once they accumulate, they become challenging to ignore. The aha moments, then, serve as gateways, gentle but unmistakable reminders that life might hold more depth and promise than we have dared to imagine. Whether it's a fleeting ripple of inspiration or a massive jolt of epiphany, these instances whisper of a hidden order urging us to see beyond the ordinary, beckoning us closer to our chosen path. Some of the most compelling signs that we might be walking a path beyond the ordinary come from within, taking shape as intuitive insights and gut feelings. Our intuition can be understood as that quiet inner voice or sense of knowing unaccompanied by logical proof or systematic reasoning, yet impossible to dismiss once we learn to recognize its presence. We've all had fleeting experiences where we just knew something without evidence, like sensing someone's mood before they speak, anticipating a phone call moments before it happens, or feeling an urgent need to avoid a certain route or choice. When such feelings repeatedly guide us accurately, we start to wonder if something deeper is at play, an internal compass that orients us toward our personal truth. This inner compass can appear at critical junctions, like deciding on a career, choosing a relationship, or moving to a new place. In these scenarios, facts and pros and cons lists may help, but there can be a persistent hum within that we can't quite articulate logically yet somehow trust. Interestingly, it's not always the grand decisions where intuition shows up. Sometimes it's in the subtle everyday nudges, like a sudden urge to check on a friend, or a faint thought nudging us to explore a new skill that ultimately aligns with our destiny. The challenge is that intuition often speaks softly, easily overshadowed by doubts, fears, or the hectic noise of daily life. Our cultural emphasis on rational thought and tangible evidence can make us dismiss these signals. Yet for those who suspect they might carry a special calling, owning this intuitive sense can be the key to interpreting the clues around them. Doing so doesn't imply abandoning logic or practicality. Rather, it suggests balancing them with a willingness to trust the unseen currents that guide our deepest impulses. Developing a deeper bond with your intuition often requires mindful effort. Meditation, journaling, spending time in nature, or simply creating quiet moment dates can help you tune into that inner channel. Over time, paying attention to recurring patterns, whether it's dreams, repeated symbols, or a persistent desire, can reveal a wealth of information about what truly resonates with you. If you keep encountering certain themes or messages, they might be signposts along your path. Though it can feel disconcerting to follow a hunch without seeing the entire picture, intuition frequently leads to discoveries that our linear minds could never have planned for. By trusting these subtle whispers, we begin to notice doors opening, people appearing at just the right moment, or unexpected blessings materializing around each bend. These threads of insight help form a larger tapestry, one that suggests our life is part of something more vast and interwoven than we realized. When we finally look back at our path, we can often see how each intuitive nudge acted as a stepping stone, moving us closer to the life we were meant to lead. These gentle indicators don't always align with conventional expectations, but if we learn to trust them, they can guide us to fulfill a purpose we never even knew we were equipped to embrace. Hand in hand with intuition, the idea of synchronicity plays a significant role in revealing hidden signs of being chosen for something greater. Coined by the psychologist Carl Jung, synchronicity refers to the phenomenon of two or more events coinciding in a meaningful way, though they appear to lack a direct causal link. Think of those moments when you're pondering a question and suddenly encounter a conversation, an article, or a random passerby who addresses that very concern. Or maybe you've been dreaming of starting a creative project and suddenly people, resources, or opportunities show up unexpectedly to propel you forward. Such occurrences often trigger an uncanny sensation that there is a pattern weaving through reality, gently steering your steps. While some might argue these alignments are mere coincidences or products of selective attention, the effect on our psyche can be profound. When these incidents cluster around us, we can't help but feel that something intangible is calling our name. It's as though life is sending little winks or nods, encouraging us to keep exploring a particular direction. Many who have experienced synchronicity repeatedly report a growing sense of trust in the mysterious processes at work in the universe. This can embolden us to take risks, follow our hearts, and see potential where we once saw none. Synchronicities also serve to build our confidence when we struggle with doubt. They can feel like timely checkpoints on our journey, confirming that we haven't strayed too far from the path meant for us. This doesn't mean everything lines up perfectly all the time, or that adversity disappears. Rather, these meaningful coincidences can appear when we most need reassurance, popping up like subtle signposts that keep our morale afloat. The transformative power of synchronicity lies in how it affects our perspective. Each time something serendipitous occurs, we might wonder if life is co-creating with us, responding to our intentions. This shift from feeling like a passive participant in a random world to someone engaged in a dynamic dance with existence can spark profound change. Our choices start to be informed by a belief that there's more than chance guiding events, leading us to pay closer attention to the subtle interplay between our thoughts, actions, and the environment. Even setbacks can take on new meaning. Obstacles may become catalysts for redirection, lessons in resilience, or signals that we need to adjust our approach. By interpreting synchronicities not as random luck but as gentle cosmic nudges, we become more alert to hidden opportunities. When viewed through this lens, the ordinary world brims with potential clues, inviting us to read between the lines. Whether it's spotting repeating numbers, encountering the same symbol everywhere you go, or having a string of chance meetings, these events can help us feel less isolated and more aligned. In that space of deeper connection, we might discover that we are indeed walking a path paved by something bigger than ourselves, prepared for our unique contributions and quietly waiting for us to embrace our role. Yet, even with these mystical confirmations, one of the greatest barriers to stepping into a calling is fear and doubt. Moments of insight or synchronicity can be exhilarating, but the rush can quickly give way to skepticism. We question whether we're imagining these signs or whether our capabilities measure up to the demands of the path we sense unfolding. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of stepping outside familiar comfort zones can paralyze us right at the threshold of transformation. Some grapple with imposter syndrome, that insidious feeling that they don't truly belong in the realm of potential greatness. Others worry about the backlash from family, friends, or society if they deviate from what's considered normal. These anxieties are entirely human and, in some ways, necessary. They compel us to pause, reflect, and evaluate the risks of our decisions. However, when left unchecked, fear and doubt can cause us to remain stuck, missing out on the life that calls us. Recognizing these feelings without allowing them to dictate our actions becomes a pivotal skill. A key strategy is reframing fear. Rather than seeing it as a sign to retreat, we can interpret it as an indication of something important on the line. Fear often signals the magnitude of a potential breakthrough. It means we're at the edge of the known, poised to venture into the unknown. Doubt, meanwhile, can serve as a reality check, pushing us to prepare better, gather more information, or develop new skills. It becomes destructive only when it morphs into a paralyzing force, making us second-guess every intuitive nudge or synchronicity. Learning to dance with fear and doubt involves strengthening self-awareness. We can observe when worry creeps in and ask, is this fear protecting me from real danger, or is it a reaction to the uncertainty of growth? Sometimes enlisting external support through mentors, coaches, or supportive peers can help us maintain a balanced perspective. Sharing our apprehensions out loud often deflates their power, revealing them as manageable concerns rather than insurmountable barriers. Another approach is to set small, manageable goals that build confidence incrementally. By taking tangible steps forward, be it enrolling in a course, reaching out to a contact, or dedicating focused time to hone a skill, we gather evidence that we're capable of progressing along this mysterious road. Each success, no matter how small, becomes a counterpoint to the internal voice that says we can't do it. Over time, these small victories accumulate, shifting our self-perception from reluctant dreamer to determined traveler. We begin to see that fear and doubt aren't fixed states, but emotional reactions that can be understood, navigated, and eventually transformed. As we keep moving, we realize that what once seemed terrifying becomes our new normal, an expanded comfort zone ready for the next stretch. Ultimately, the very presence of fear and doubt can be a clue that we're onto something meaningful. If the path were trivial or unimportant, we wouldn't experience such intensity of feeling. In this sense, fear can be a compass, guiding us toward the lessons and triumphs that await beyond its threshold. Once we've acknowledged our fears, the journey of following our true north begins in earnest. The phrase true north symbolizes that internal compass directing toward a life aligned with our deepest passions, values, and talents. Identifying these guiding elements often involves reflecting on what truly captivates us. Activities or ideas that make time fly, subjects we can't stop learning about, or causes that stir a sense of responsibility within us. Our talents, whether they are obvious or still undiscovered, can be the engines that propel us forward once harnessed. Yet many people drift through life without clarifying what drives them at a core level, instead chasing external markers of success that leave them unfulfilled. Stepping onto a chosen path requires daring to ask, what would I pursue if fear, judgment, and convention were no obstacle? The answer to that question often hints at our latent purpose, even if the path seems outlandish or impractical at first glance. Embracing that calling doesn't necessarily mean quitting all obligations and running away from daily life. Instead, it can be a process of weaving purpose into our existing routines, carving out time and energy to develop the passions that reveal who we really are. This might look like devoting weekends to writing that novel we've always dreamed of, or volunteering for an organization that reflects our most cherished causes. Over time, what begins as a side endeavor can grow into a central life mission, especially when nurtured with consistent effort and heartfelt dedication. Another layer of following our true north involves an honest inventory of personal strengths and weaknesses. Chosen ones in stories often have a mentor who helps them realize their hidden abilities. In real life, we can seek mentors or resources that guide us in refining our craft and confronting our blind spots. Perhaps we're skilled at communicating but lack the organizational savvy to bring projects to fruition, or maybe we're highly creative but struggle with confidence. Acknowledging these realities and seeking solutions, whether through collaboration, further education, or supportive communities, helps us become more effective in living out our call. Inevitably, there will be setbacks, and it's easy to interpret them as signs we're not meant to continue. However, perseverance often distinguishes those who realize their destiny from those who abandon it prematurely. If our purpose genuinely resonates with us, we'll find ourselves repeatedly drawn back, even after we've stumbled. Each failure can become a lesson, honing our resolve and clarifying our vision. There's a certain freedom in deciding to move forward despite uncertainty, trusting that this path has been illuminated by forces both within and beyond us. As we continue to align ourselves with our authentic passions, a curious thing happens: synchronicities multiply, intuition sharpens, and we attract individuals and opportunities that further expand our horizon. It's as though each step of commitment validates our readiness, summoning new levels of support from the cosmos. Over time, this creates a feedback loop, a dance of dedication and reward that continually reaffirms we've chosen the right direction. The more we honor our inner call, the more the external world responds in kind. The beginning of any journey that challenges the status quo is bound to be filled with excitement and trepidation. After deciding to follow the trail of synchronicities, intuitive nudges, and passions, we enter a phase of self-discovery that can feel both liberating and disorienting. Old habits and mindsets may no longer fit who we are becoming, prompting us to redefine our identity in ways that can unsettle the people around us. Some might cheer us on, while others question our decisions or worry we're jeopardizing stability. This can test our resolve, forcing us to confirm if we truly believe in the path we're pursuing. In these early stages, small steps can have an outsized impact. Whether it's registering for a class, auditioning for a role, or simply starting a daily practice that aligns with our interests, every deliberate action sends a message to ourselves and the universe. I am ready to embody this calling. These actions can spark fresh motivation, unveiling opportunities we never noticed before and drawing in people with shared ideals. As we keep moving, the gap between our old self and the person we're evolving into widens, sometimes causing friction in our social circles. Friends or family who are comfortable with the status quo may perceive our newfound dedication as a threat or a sign that we're drifting away from them. These relationship shifts can be painful, yet they also serve as crucibles that test how deeply committed we are to our evolving sense of purpose. It's not uncommon to face emotional turbulence, including bouts of loneliness, guilt, or confusion about leaving familiar paths behind. But these trials can also lay the groundwork for forging a more aligned community in the future. This phase of the journey also involves honing our ability to handle doubt. While we might have overcome initial fears, new challenges constantly arise, calling for fresh adaptations. Maybe our big idea encounters financial obstacles, or we realize we need more training to reach the level we envision. Instead of interpreting these struggles as signs of failure, they can be viewed as natural growth pains, milestones that prove we're stepping into bigger shoes. Embracing the process as an ongoing evolution rather than a quick fix can help us maintain perspective. Meanwhile, the sense that we're part of a larger story, perhaps even a chosen purpose, acts like an undercurrent, sustaining us through rough waters. We might not always see immediate progress, but the subtle sense of rightness can keep us going. Over time, we develop resilience, the mental and emotional fortitude to navigate the inevitable ups and downs of pursuing a meaningful life. This, in turn, readies us for the bigger tests and opportunities that lie further along the path. Ultimately, the journey's beginning is as crucial as any heroic climax. It sets the tone for how we handle growth, adversity, and the unfolding of our destiny. Each decision to press forward, no matter how small, is a vote of confidence in our future self. Though uncertainty lingers, a spark of possibility pulses through our everyday actions, quietly guiding us in the next chapter of the extraordinary life we're daring to create. One of the greatest misconceptions about being singled out for a special role is the idea that you must do it all alone. While personal resolve and integrity are essential, the journey often requires the support and collaboration of others who resonate with similar visions. Throughout history, pockets of like-minded individuals have joined together to strengthen one another's resolve. Communities of monks, artists, activists and innovators have formed around shared callings, proving that synergy multiplies possibility. When you find yourself wondering if you might be a chosen one, seek out others who share that sense of deeper purpose or curiosity. These could be local groups, online forums, or informal gatherings where people discuss spiritual, creative, or humanitarian pursuits. Though many of us fear judgment or ridicule, especially when our calling falls outside mainstream norms, connecting with a supportive community can validate our experiences. They can provide insights, resources, and empathy that might be hard to find among those who don't relate to this kind of inner pull. In turn, you can offer your own talents and perspectives to others on similar paths, creating a mutual exchange that nurtures everyone's growth. The power of community is evident in how it can amplify collective energy, turning individual sparks into a sustaining blaze. Shared meditations, group brainstorming sessions, and collaborative projects create an environment where synchronicities become more frequent and breakthroughs more common. It's as if the group's combined intent draws opportunities toward it. Moreover, community offers a buffer against isolation. Even those who feel strongly about their destiny can succumb to self-doubt when isolated for too long. Having people around who understand the spiritual or visionary side of life can help maintain perspective. They can remind you of the progress you've already made, encourage you when trials loom large, and challenge you to refine your vision when you grow stagnant. It's in these communal settings that extraordinary alliances often form, teacher-student relationships, creative collaborations, or friendships forged by shared transformative experiences. Sometimes the collective itself becomes a living, breathing testament to what is possible when individuals answer the call. Witnessing peers succeed can stoke the fire of your own aspirations, proving that what once seemed far-fetched can actually become tangible. On a practical note, community members might share leads on funding, offer skill swaps, or introduce you to mentors you'd never otherwise meet. These networks can become scaffolding that supports grand undertakings, from launching socially conscious startups to organizing humanitarian initiatives or publishing groundbreaking work. In essence, the people you surround yourself with can either dampen your light or help it shine brighter. By choosing to engage with those who embrace the idea of greater purpose, you take a proactive step towards solidifying your path. This isn't about forming an echo chamber, it's about building a circle that challenges you constructively, celebrates your milestones, and genuinely believes in the transformative potential of pursuing one's calling. Over time, the synergy of collective energy can strengthen your resolve, reminding you that you are neither crazy nor alone in suspecting that a hidden hand might be guiding you. While forging meaningful connections can bolster your courage, it's equally important to recognize the power of sharing your story. Telling others about the signs you've observed or the calling you sense can be both vulnerable and empowering. On one hand, you risk opening yourself to criticism or disbelief. On the other, you extend an invitation to those who've experienced similar nudges and awakenings to step forward. This simple act of disclosure can validate experiences for both speaker and listener, creating a ripple effect of mutual discovery. Many individuals go through life longing for deeper meaning, but stay silent out of fear of mockery. By bravely voicing your own journey, whether it's about recurring dreams, resonant synchronicities, or the quiet certainty that you have a role to play, you become a beacon for others who also sense that gentle tug. They might share their own stories in return, or at least feel less alone in their private suspicions that there is more to life than meets the eye. In this way, storytelling becomes a catalyst for collective awakening, revealing a subterranean network of seekers who otherwise might never have found each other. Moreover, articulating your experiences can help you understand them better. Translating intangible sensations into words forces you to reflect on the details, to piece together patterns, and to confront any lingering doubts. You might be surprised by the clarity that emerges once you give your hidden truths a structured voice. What seemed like random fragments, odd coincidences, persistent intuitions, can form a coherent narrative that strengthens your resolve. Conversely, skepticism from others can serve as a valuable test of how convinced you really are. Sometimes, outside questions or even dismissal can push you to refine your perspective or gather more evidence for your own peace of mind. If you find your conviction remains unshaken, that might be all the confirmation you need to take the next step. Then there's the matter of inspiration. When you see someone else courageously forging their own path, sharing the trials and triumphs along the way, it stirs hope. You begin to wonder if you, too, might have something unique to offer. This effect multiplies when stories are shared in group settings or online platforms where a single personal account can reach hundreds or thousands of people seeking encouragement. Each retelling amplifies the chorus of voices, reminding us that the extraordinary often arises in the most ordinary of circumstances. Of course, not every detail of your journey needs to be public knowledge. Discernment is key. Some aspects of your calling might be deeply personal, better kept in trusted circles until you feel stable enough to share more widely. Still, selectively offering pieces of your story can generate a powerful ripple. You never know who might be waiting for that spark of validation or hope to ignite their own journey. By bravely letting your experiences see the light of day, you help create a communal tapestry of hidden signs and personal callings, weaving together individuals who might otherwise feel disconnected and adrift. In that sense, your story becomes more than a personal endeavor. It becomes a point of convergence for others seeking their own truth. When we begin to see that our personal journey resonates with others, it becomes clear that we're all part of a greater mosaic, each contributing a vital piece to the overarching narrative of human potential. The concept of a chosen one becomes less about one person bearing all the weight and more about each individual playing a specialized role in a grand, evolving tapestry. As we recognize how our individual callings intersect, we move beyond the idea of separate destinies toward a shared enterprise that allows for collective growth and transformation. In this broader framework, every path matters. Whether someone is drawn to healing, environmental activism, artistic expression, technological innovation, or spiritual inquiry, their dedication to fully inhabit that calling enriches the group as a whole. Much like different instruments in an orchestra, each person's unique note contributes to a harmonious outcome that no single individual could achieve alone. By seeing ourselves as interconnected agents of change, we broaden the scope of what being chosen can mean. This idea of a collective journey also reframes the ups and downs we experience individually. Setbacks and breakthroughs aren't isolated incidents, but events with ripple effects on our communities. One person's breakthrough can trigger hope or curiosity in another, while a setback might prompt communal support or innovative solutions. In this sense, success and failure aren't strictly personal. They become shared experiences that strengthen the bonds among those who see themselves as part of something larger. The collective dimension also highlights the importance of communal wisdom. If we're all puzzle pieces in a greater design, listening to each other can reveal insights we might miss on our own. Someone else's viewpoint or expertise might illuminate aspects of our own path that remain obscure. By remaining open to collaborative problem solving, we invite synergy that can catapult individual efforts to far-reaching influence. Over time, a network of chosen individuals, each answering their distinct call, can accumulate tremendous societal or cultural impact. From global humanitarian projects to grassroots movements, it's often the shared vision and combined talents of many that bring about meaningful change. Indeed, history is replete with examples of Renaissance collectives, activist groups, and scientific communities whose combined energies shifted paradigms. Recognizing that our individual journey contributes to a collective tapestry can also provide comfort. It relieves the loneliness that can accompany a sense of purpose, reminding us that others are walking parallel roads. We don't have to carry every burden alone, nor do we need to have all the answers. Someone else's piece of the puzzle might fit perfectly with ours, forming a more complete picture of what humanity can aspire to. This synergy doesn't erase personal challenges, but it does suggest that help is always near. In this way, being a chosen one is less an isolated crown of glory and more a shared commitment to elevating the human story. When we grasp this, the notion of destiny expands from a personal quest to a collaborative odyssey, and our motivation to stay the course deepens. We realize that by stepping into our role, we enable others to do the same, advancing a mutual journey of unfolding potential. Amid the swirl of excitement and discovery, it's crucial to remember that the destination, while important, is only one facet of a much broader experience. We might hold images of a final triumph, becoming a best-selling author, founding a groundbreaking charity, achieving spiritual enlightenment, but life rarely halts in a triumphant freeze frame. Instead, it continues to evolve, and new layers of purpose or calling can reveal themselves over time. Every step on our chosen path carries its lessons, transformations, and moments of awe, sometimes overshadowing whatever we originally thought we were aiming for. By valuing the journey itself, we liberate ourselves from the pressure of achieving a singular goal. This doesn't mean giving up ambition or ceasing to strive for excellence. Rather, it means staying open to the transformative power of each phase along the road. When we reach what we thought was our pinnacle, we often find there's another vista waiting, another set of challenges or revelations that expand our perspective. This perpetual unfolding makes the calling an ongoing dance rather than a single performance. In stories of chosen ones, there's often a grand climax, a moment of victory or resolution. Yet even in myths, the hero returns home changed, implying a new life begins after the saga's peak. Similarly, real-world journeys seldom end at the moment of success. There's the integration of newfound wisdom, the sharing of knowledge with others, and often the emergence of fresh callings. Learning to see each accomplishment or setback as a station rather than a terminus helps us remain humble and adaptable. Another reason to value the journey over the destination is its immediate impact on how we live day by day. If we're too fixated on a distant outcome, we might overlook the subtle ways our present actions contribute to our growth or service. Each conversation, creative endeavor, or moment of introspection can hold significance in shaping our character and refining our purpose. This focus on the here and now can also reduce anxiety. Instead of fretting about whether we'll ultimately achieve grand success, we channel our energy into being fully present, doing our best in the immediate task. That presence often breeds excellence and authenticity, ironically making our future goals more achievable. Moreover, the journey is where we cultivate relationships, acquire new skills, and discover unseen aspects of ourselves. Even mistakes and detours contribute by teaching us resilience and adaptability. We might have begun with a narrow vision of what being chosen entailed, only to learn that our calling is richer and more varied than we initially imagined. This incremental uncovering can be exhilarating, as each stage feels like unlocking another chapter of our personal myth. Thus, far from being a mere slog toward a distant reward, the journey becomes the daily enactment of our chosen identity. Through its unfolding, we experience slices of the extraordinary in seemingly ordinary moments. We find joy in challenges conquered, solace in lessons learned, and a growing sense of self that aligns with our truest aspirations. By embracing the process, we acknowledge that each mile traveled holds value, not just for the final destination, but for how it shapes who we are becoming and how we contribute to the world around us. This continual process of unfolding ensures that our path is never static. Even after we've stepped into a role we once viewed as the fulfillment of our destiny, new layers of learning and self-discovery keep revealing themselves. The evolution of a chosen one is ongoing, an ever-expanding horizon that beckons us to refine, adapt, and grow. Far from being a sign of instability, this constant evolution is a marker of vitality and relevance. It means we are alive to life's pulse, capable of responding to changing circumstances and inner stirrings with creativity and courage. An essential aspect of this never-ending journey is the capacity to remain a student. No matter how proficient or enlightened we become, there's always another level of mastery or a new facet of our calling to explore. This humility in the face of the unknown keeps us grounded, safeguarding against the arrogance that can creep in once we've attained a measure of success. It also keeps the experience fresh. There's nothing quite as invigorating as diving into uncharted territory within your own craft or spirituality, discovering nuances that you never knew existed. Continuous evolution also applies to the relationships and communities we build along the way. As we grow, our needs, insights, and contributions shift. We may outgrow certain circles or become more drawn to new ones that reflect our changing perspective. This isn't a rejection of the past, but a natural progression that allows us to remain in sync with our deeper calling. Sometimes these transitions can be bittersweet, involving farewells or the renegotiation of long-standing bonds. Yet they also open the door to fresh alliances and collaborations that match who we are becoming. Challenges will inevitably punctuate each phase. A new project might fail, a trusted mentor might depart, or personal circumstances might temporarily derail our progress. In these moments, we can be tempted to interpret setbacks as cosmic signals that we're on the wrong path. However, if we've learned anything from earlier stages, it's that adversity often serves as a crucible for transformation. Each trial can refine our vision, test our commitment, and deepen our reservoir of strength. Overcoming these challenges broadens our skill set, making us more capable of handling the next curveball life throws our way. Another phenomenon that arises as we evolve is the expansion of influence. When we remain faithful to our growth, people take notice. Often beyond our immediate circle, we may become informal mentors or role models, even if we never sought those roles. By simply embodying our calling, we show others that it's possible to honor an inner voice and create tangible impact. This example alone can be a powerful catalyst for change in communities that need fresh perspectives or leadership. In time, we may find our purpose metamorphosing into something that influences broader circles. What started as a personal passion project might grow into a community-driven initiative, then blossom into a movement. Or perhaps a private spiritual exploration becomes a published book that sparks meaningful dialogue in far-flung places. The key is to remain flexible, to recognize that being chosen doesn't lock us into a single script. We are chosen, perhaps, to keep evolving, a dynamic unfolding that breathes life into every chapter of our story. Ultimately, the point of a calling goes beyond personal fulfillment. It's also about the impact we make on the world. We each carry unique gifts, talents, perspectives and passions that, when brought to fruition, can address needs or inspire others in ways we might never fully grasp. Whether our contribution is large-scale, like heading a major philanthropic organization, or intimate, like mentoring a handful of individuals, the ripples of our actions extend farther than we imagine. It's not about chasing grandeur for its own sake, but about recognizing that every positive shift, however small, enriches the greater whole. Living a life of purpose also means we step out of the passive consumption of existence and actively shape our reality. Instead of merely waiting for external circumstances to improve, we become agents of transformation. This can manifest in myriad ways: a teacher influencing children to think creatively, an artist awakening social awareness through striking visuals, or a community organizer rallying neighbors to address local issues. Even everyday kindness, a listening ear, a thoughtful gesture, takes on greater significance when rooted in a sense of calling. In this way, the chosen path can bring about tangible benefits for those around us, not just for ourselves. Another dimension of impact lies in the sphere of inspiration. By watching someone wholeheartedly invest in their purpose, others often gain the courage to do the same. It's a sort of chain reaction of empowerment. Each person who embraces their calling stands as living evidence that passion and practicality need not be at odds, that it's possible to carve a meaningful life in a world that often values conformity and quick gains. Over time, these individual choices can collectively reshape cultural attitudes, fostering spaces where creativity, authenticity, and empathy are cherished rather than sidelined. Simultaneously, living a life of purpose challenges us to remain responsible stewards of our gifts. Having certain abilities or opportunities doesn't grant us immunity from ethical considerations. If anything, it demands a higher standard of integrity. The more power or influence we wield, the more we must stay vigilant against ego traps and exploitation. We are entrusted with something special, an ability to channel our energies toward bettering the world, and that responsibility calls us to maintain balance, humility, and gratitude. We also discover that leaving a positive mark doesn't require perfection. We can stumble, backtrack, or momentarily lose sight of our calling and still create meaningful outcomes. Mistakes can lead to pivotal insights. Sometimes the greatest acts of service happen when we own up to our flaws, modeling vulnerability and growth for others. In this sense, the journey remains authentic, grounded in real experiences rather than an idealized veneer of heroism. Over time, living with purpose rewires how we perceive ourselves and our surroundings. Joy arises not just from personal gain, but from witnessing how our actions contribute to the well-being of others. Fulfillment ceases to be a solitary pursuit and evolves into a shared phenomenon, reflecting the interconnectedness of human lives. In the end, a life of impact isn't measured solely by accolades or recognition. It's measured by the differences, big and small, that ripple through the people and places we touch, leaving a legacy of hope and possibility for those who follow. In light of this grand tapestry, it becomes evident that answering a call, being chosen, is less about destiny handing down an edict and more about actively participating in a dance with the unknown. Along the way, we uncover hidden corners of ourselves, forge unexpected alliances, and learn that the path is never entirely predictable. The growth we undergo, the connections we make, and the contributions we offer all combine to shape a life that feels deeply alive. This sense of vitality contrasts sharply with the numb complacency that can creep in when we ignore our inner nudges. By staying alert to subtle signs, whether they appear as synchronicities, gut instincts, or meaningful coincidences, we align ourselves with an undercurrent of guidance that transcends logic alone. We begin to trust that our story is part of something larger than a random series of events. This trust, in turn, makes us more courageous in our choices, more resilient in times of difficulty, and more open to joy when blessings arise. If there's one lesson that unites the seemingly disparate experiences of those who feel chosen, it's that the journey itself reveals who we truly are. In embracing that evolution, we discover capacities we never dreamed of, gifts of creativity, empathy, leadership, or vision. We also face our shadows, those less polished aspects of ourselves, and realize they can be transmuted into strength through perseverance, humility, and love. None of this suggests the road is easy. Setbacks, heartbreaks, and existential doubts will pepper our path, at times making us question whether this chosen narrative is mere fantasy. Yet time and again, small confirmations appear, a friend's affirmation, a timely solution, or a flash of renewed inspiration, reminding us that our steps have significance. Eventually, what started as a faint inkling matures into an unshakable conviction that we're on a meaningful track. The paradox of the chosen path is that it simultaneously makes us feel special and yet humbles us. Special because the alignment of signs and the surge of purpose are undeniably powerful. Humbled because the more we grasp the interconnectedness of life, the more we realize how many moving parts have converged to bring us here. We comprehend that our role, while unique, is part of an enormous web, and that other individuals are equally guided by their own callings. This realization fosters empathy, not arrogance. As we stand at the threshold of our next decision, we can remember that being a chosen one isn't about boasting extraordinary powers in isolation. It's about taking responsibility for the gifts we've been given and using them in service of a broader design. Whether or not we have all the answers is beside the point. What matters is our willingness to respond to the signals that life provides and to keep walking, step by step, into the territory where our greatest potential meets the world's deep need. And through that process, we come to see ourselves not just as individuals with a destiny, but as co-creators of a shared story, one that is immeasurably every soul that dares to heed the call.